I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. This is a tax edition because everybody needs to know that there are a lot of new tax laws that have gone into effect. And if you've been doing your own taxes, even TurboTax is not doing right now. And they have some kind of a thing where they have to give you a rebate or something. I mean, there's a lot of things going on with these tax laws, and you probably don't even know we're going to just take you to the hole. We're not taking you down deep into the rabbit hole, but we're definitely going to walk you to that hole. And then the next guest that we have today is going to definitely take you down that hole. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, guys. So yeah, we're walking you to that tax rabbit hole. You know how it goes so deep. And there's just so many different things to talk about. But we have Latesha Smith here, and she's with Premier Tax and Business Solutions. And she's gonna be the one that's gonna take you down the hole. I'm just gonna take you to the hole because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a tax expert, but she is. And I want to welcome her to the show. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited. So I'm here to help in any way I possibly can.
Taxes is big. And it's
Yes.
the whole thing has just changed. It's upside down to me. Sometimes I don't even understand it. Sometimes I have to actually, the last 2 years I've actually had to put an extension on my taxes because I've had to go through things and learn things again. So, I mean, let's kind of go back and talk about, the tax laws and how people can actually maybe possibly do additional write-offs that they're not doing. There might be some circumstances we're missing. I mean, there's a lot of things to this. And I mean, we can't even begin to talk about it now, but let's start.
Okay. One of the things that I tell people when we're dealing with taxes, you have a lot of people, it's scary because the first thing, in my industry, they're either saying, I don't want to owe a lot of money or I want to get a refund, so it falls into either one of those categories. And my response is always, well, why? Because on the one end where you say you don't want to owe a lot of money, that can work. However, what happens is that when you don't owe a lot of money, and which means that also shows you didn't make a lot. So then if you're in a situation to where you want to go and buy a home, guess what? You're going to have some difficulties getting that home because your whole focus was, I don't want to owe a lot of money. So that means that you had to lower your income to not owe. Same scenario in terms of, I want to get a lot of money back. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. The way the tax code is designed, it really is not for people who are W-2 employees. Mm-hmm. It's just not. It really is more so for individuals who own a business. Now, with me saying that, that doesn't mean that a lot of people who own businesses should own a business. But I'm just saying that a lot of the tax strategies that I can talk about and laws to help, so that you don't owe a lot is really more beneficial to those who own their own business.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Okay, this is just a question. I mean,
okay.
Everybody is going cuckoo crazy over these side hustles, affiliate marketing and this and that, and owning your own t-shirt company. But they also have a W-2 job. Is that a good idea? Should they do that?
It actually would be a good strategy, exactly for what you said earlier, in terms of helping to leverage owning a business and having a W-2. Again, the biggest thing is understanding exactly what each is supposed to do. So for example, let's say that you have a W-2 job and you make $60,000 a year on this W-2. Then you have this side business that you make an additional $40,000, right? So the side business with the $40,000, you haven't paid any taxes on. So all of that money, without us even adding into expenses, is taxable income. So if on your W-2 job, you claim exempt, that means you're not paying taxes on that W-2 either. So now you have exempt on W-2, you have 40,000 of 1099 income.
That's
Guess what?
$100,000.
That side hustle did not help you at all. It
No,
actually made it worse. So the idea is to go back and now understand what is the reason why you got this side hustle. Understanding how to be able to do your W-2 in which you're paying some taxes so that now coupled with the 1099 income, making sure you have the right expenses that you can write off, the two of those together now can put you in a better situation financially to where you may or may not owe anything at all, or it will be a very small amount. But the first thing is understanding how to leverage the two against each other. And most people do
definitely.
not do that.
Definitely. I was told to claim like the highest that you could claim on if you have a side hustle that's making you good money. So like say on your W-2, you may claim like more than one dependent or two dependents, or not, I'm sorry, less. So zero dependents. If the more dependents you claim, the less money they take out, the less dependents that you claim, the more money they take out. So it's better to have them take out more money that they owe you or that you don't have to pay because of the side hustle. And is that right?
It really just depends on how disciplined you are in your as a person. So I have some clients, their whole mindset is that I don't want to pay the government anything. I would rather whatever I owe to write a check because I need all of my money every time, I get paid. And I challenge them. And I'm like, well, not necessarily. You only say you need it because you see it. If you see it, you're going to spend it. So, but if you are disciplined enough to where you're saving money so that when that time comes, you can pay, then that does work. But I say most people aren't that disciplined, and it makes more sense to claim zero. Go ahead and claim zero on your W-2 so that, yes, and like what you said, you are taking out more money in taxes in anticipation that that's going to help you on the 1099 side so that now you add those together. If you overpaid on W-2 and you underpaid on 1099, together they will balance out. Now, here's a piece to that as well. Good record keeping and bookkeeping is what's going to happen. I'm going to help you. I'm sorry. What I tell people is that as a business owner, you should never be surprised when taxes come. You should never be surprised. It should never be a shocker that, oh my gosh, I owe $10,000. Oh, wow, I'm getting $3,000 back. That should never be a shocker. If it is, again, you probably should not have a side hustle. And I'm just being honest.
Definitely, definitely. And, in the beginning, these side hustles, they take losses. You have even though you don't, a lot of people have their side hustles and they work from home, but you have to understand you have a home office, you got supplies, you may have gas, you might have to travel, you have your computer that you just bought. I mean, these are all write-offs. Am I correct to say that, within your business, you need to have write-offs so that way you can just not only sustain your business, grow your business, but also show the tax write-offs at the end of the year?
And I'm going to say that's a yes and no question. And the reason for that is because the way the IRS works, let's say in the course of 3 years, you claim a loss. So your business made $1,000, just for the sake of example, but you wrote off 2,000. So then that means that you had a loss on that business. You can do that, but once you get to the third year, then now, even if your business had a loss, you're going to have to actually show a profit. Because in the eyes of the IRS, this is not a business, it's a hobby. Because at the end of the day, who wants to continue to do a business and they make no money?
Exactly.
No one does. However, the other piece to that is, again, if you want to stay in business for a long period of time, you want to grow it, depending on what that looks like for you as a business owner, you want to put yourself in a position to where you're able to get business loans. Well, I don't know about you, but I am not going to lend money to anybody that I know I can't get back.
Yeah.
So if you don't show that you're making money to be able to pay me back, then I'm not going to give you a loan. So you got to be very careful when you're looking at, I want to just write everything off. Do you have legitimate expense you can write off as a business owner? Absolutely. Can you write off your home and supplies and all those things? Yes, you can. But doesn't necessarily mean you need to write the entire dollar amount off. No. Doesn't necessarily mean that you need to write it off at all. I don't know. It just again depends on what is your short and long-term goals.
Right, right. You know, a lot of people are in that situation where it is a third year, and even especially after COVID, where things are starting to get a little better, but they're not all the way there yet. And
Mhm.
the loss that we've had in the last 2 to 3 years is still manifesting its nasty head at this year three that we're, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
how do you combat that?
Well, you combat that first and foremost is by making some changes. You do what I would call is a business overhaul. Let me audit my business and see what it's looking like. First and foremost, COVID affected all of us in some kind of way, whether some negative, some positive, lost their family, some businesses went under. So we know that. So if you are in that position to where COVID affected you negatively from a business perspective, where you lost clients, where you lost your products and you really didn't make any money, was COVID the main reason for that? That's the first thing you have to ask yourself. And so what I mean by that is, let's say, like for me, I'm a service industry,
Mhm.
and I deal with working people with businesses and taxes. So did I lose a lot of my clients because they were no longer working? Or did I lose a lot of my clients just because of me as the person who was working with them and our relationship just didn't match anymore for where
Mm,
they are? Those are two different scenarios,
gotcha.
but you need to figure out what that is. So now, as you're doing an audit of your business, you know what areas to now focus on to get that business back. So for me, if it was that I lost them because their business went under, that doesn't mean that my business necessarily have to go under. I may now have to target how I'm going about getting business and who that target audience is that's different from what I had before.
Right, right. In the music industry, we have lost, and I'm talking, in my area, as a performer, as an entertainer, we've lost a lot of businesses
Mhm.
where we couldn't even perform, couldn't even perform during COVID, couldn't perform, lost, I don't know how much money and how much revenue because everything was closed. So
Mhm.
there was no place to go to actually sing. So there are a lot of different people out there that are actually having us come back now, but 50% of the businesses where we used to frequent are closed.
Mhm.
So there is a direct effect on that per se for people who went out entertaining or people who were entertainment or even catering businesses and things like that. There
Mhm.
always all of that was closed. So there are different circumstances, like you said, affecting certain businesses and certain people who are in certain industries that they just couldn't work. So yeah,
And
that
I
that
would
was
say in
yeah,
those situations, you got to get creative, in my opinion, which is why versus became so huge during
yeah,
COVID because people had to figure out other ways, which is why DoorDash and Uber Eats became even more prevalent because people had to still figure out ways. So in situations like that, and in all honesty, there's only two things that you can do. One, get more creative. And two, if you were a business that you had your finances in order in terms of you had your record keeping, you had your profit and loss statements, you had your bank accounts, during COVID, that was the one time I can say that we all were kind of on an even playing field in terms of minority businesses where they were giving us money.
exactly.
That never happened before,
Never,
ever.
never.
So you take advantage of that, but then you don't take the money that they're giving you and just pay bills and pay debt. You take that and now you get creative and figure out other things that you can do. Or unfortunately, in some of those cases, it's like, okay, do I need to now pivot and doing something else?
Right.
Do I now go from actually being a person that can sing to now teaching classes on singing? Now, writing a book about singing, whatever it is, utilizing your talents that you already have and figuring out another way since we're all home anyway. And if
Mhm.
nothing else, we're spending money.
Exactly.
Home Depot did not go out.
No,
Amazon did not go out. We were ordering stuff. We were at home. So many chefs
fixing up our
became born.
houses.
So you just got to get creative because it's not
Yeah.
easy. It's
No,
not.
No, definitely not. And now there's just so many different classifications of taxes for different ages of people. You have the 18 and under who are still dependent on their
Mhm.
parents. They're still living at home. The parents have to declare them. This is something that you have to do. But then you have the 21 to whatever, 50, what is it, 60, 62, 62. So that age bracket right there, they don't have unless they're on disability. You have the disability people, but then you have Social Security where they don't have to pay taxes ever again, ever.
Well, that's true or not true. And
Okay,
I
tell
say
me
that's
about this.
because it depends on, because I have clients who are almost 80. I have one client that's 83, and her daughter is always asking, why is my mom still paying taxes? Well, because your mother also has rental property. So she has a business. She also has retirement income that she still has coming in. So while it's like, okay, I am getting Social Security, but I have other sources of income, so therefore she doesn't pay taxes. Now, for those individuals and all they get is Social Security, then yeah, they're good to go. But
Hmm.
let's be honest, most of those people that fall into that category really aren't even getting enough to live off of.
No,
They're
they're
really
not.
not.
They're
They're
not.
not.
They're not. And that too, there's just so many rabbit holes. That's why I said I'm going to take you to the hole. We're going to take you to the hole. But the hole goes a lot deeper than what we thought. Thinking about taxes and about bookkeeping and about, at the end of the year, not paying a lot and paying a little or getting a refund, or all these different things. Are you capable of helping the individual and the company with their business and with their taxes?
Absolutely. The first thing that I always like to do with clients, potential clients, and I said potential because it doesn't mean that they will become a client, is do a consulting appointment. And in that appointment is all about understanding whether or not, first of all, do you have a business? And if you have a business, what does that look like? Meaning, what is your tax structure for the business? Because that makes it the determination in terms of how they are taxes. Meaning, are you an LLC? Are you an S corporation? Are you a corporation? Or your partnership? All that actually takes into consideration how you are taxed as well. I ask, what are your short and long term goals? Again, do you at some point plan to have your business paying you a salary? Which I will say it absolutely should. Why else have it? Are you planning to retire from this, or do you want to have retirement income as a result of this business? So we ask all those questions, and based off of the responses, I'm able to then give them advice on what they can do, whether it's doing the bookkeeping and accounting themselves, hiring our firm, or whatever it looks like to be able to make sure that based off of their responses, we can help them get on track. But more importantly, again, if you're in business, we're in business to make money. Unless you're a nonprofit, you're in business to make money. So we also talk about goal setting. So if you're saying, this is my first time in business, in my first year, I want to be a six-figure business owner, then our whole conversation is all about how do you get there? So every time we're meeting every month, we're going over numbers. So if you're not meeting those goals, again, there's no surprises. We need to do something differently so that now when we get to December, we already know, oh, well, you're not going to hit 100,000 because of all the things in between, and we had to tweak some things or whatever. But again, it's not a surprise. So
Right.
yes, absolutely, I can help them with that.
Awesome. Awesome. So I'm going to tell people to go to premiertaxga.com. We're going to have that information in the description box below. So it'll be easy for you guys to go ahead and go there. Watch the video. Okay. There is a video on the page. It's like when you just go to just watch the video. Okay. And then get started. Just click on that number, get started, and let's do the math, they say. Okay. But watch the video. Watch the video because that's going to help you before you get in contact with them. We want to make sure that, we're representing you properly. But at the same time, we want to make sure that the people understand that, yeah, when you get to those six figures, when you even get to the five figures, you're going to need someone else to kind of step in and help you out. Because if you mess up, that follows you and it'll catch up to you later. And you don't want that. So
Right.
I want to thank you so much, Miss Smith, for being on the show. Did we miss anything today?
The only thing I want to encourage everyone as well is when they're going to the website, check out also what we do, but also I wrote a book called So You Think You Want to Be a Boss.
I'm
And
sorry, wait, you're
in
an author?
yes, ma'am, I am an author now.
My
And the book is
goodness.
going to help you tremendously as well. Because again, while you say you want to be a boss, do you really? Do you really want to be a boss? So it's not just a book about my experience. It's really interactive. There's things in there that you can do, answer questions to figure out if that's the track you want to take. And if you do, by the end of the book, you will have what I would call a snapshot of a blueprint on how to be a boss and also to be successful. So
Awesome.
please, take a look at it. And, I welcome feedback as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I see that. I see that you do have feedback here on the website. I want to thank you again so much for joining me, Miss Smith, and for taking the time out to be such a professional in your craft to understand that people need help.
I love it. I love it. When you love what you do, it doesn't feel like work. So, I mean,
It
someone
doesn't.
had to help me. So, therefore, I'm offering the same to other people. So, thank
Definitely
you
does.
again.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hey, we're going to be watching the comment section below. If you didn't get that information or you need more help, just go ahead and please just type in, I need help at the bottom, the side, or the top, wherever you're watching. And you can always give them a call. How can they contact you on the phone?
Our direct number is 678-557-4457.
Awesome. So we'll have that information as well in the description box below. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to dare to be different. And until next time, guys, bye.
Thank you.